Hey, welcome back. I have a new video where I'm going to take a look at the news we got today about the final model for the Astra Militarum release, and it's Lord Solar Leontus. Leontus? Leontus probably is right. Yeah, so back in third edition, maybe even second. I wasn't playing then, so I really am not sure, although I'm guessing based on the look of him, third edition kind of makes sense. There was a model. His name was Lord Solar Macharius, and he was essentially Alexander the Great in 40k. He went on a big crusade, conquered 1,000 worlds, and hit a point where his men would no longer go any further. They were too scared to continue any deeper into basically unknown space. And it forced him to turn around. He got sick and died, sort of like Alexander the Great style, which was followed up by more Alexander the Great style betrayal and collapse of what he created when his generals basically all, for whatever reason, turned on each other and started carving up the territory they had helped conquer. And I don't recall what happened after that. I assume there was just another crusade to go and, kick their shit in and put it all back together now that, we got this place back, or this new territory gained, whatever it was. And then these morons went and screwed it all up like immediately after he died. So yeah, Lord Solar Macharius. He was an interesting model. He was a very rigid, like he was just striding into battle. Pretty cool looking armor. It was like really like ornate, heavy plate all over his body. But like not like he was wearing like full plate mail, just like big sections of armor. And he had like laurel leaves in his around his head, like he was like a conquering Caesar. He was a very cool model. He had a bolt pistol and like a big staff thing. And the bolt pistol and staff were pretty, time appropriate, rigid, like think like like the wizards and the gash and all those things we got back then, which were, not the best because there was no like natural flow to the miniature. It was just a part of the process. They did all the sculpting by hand. They couldn't just, twist things in a digital file till they got it just right. They just did their best, and it was still a cool model. I owned him. I loved him. For some reason, I chopped him up one time and turned him into Cobra Commander. I do apologize for that. But anyways, yeah, so we have Lord Solar back. It's a new guy. It's not Macharius. It did actually, it made sense not to have him because, again, Lord Solar Macharius was literally dead when he was in the third edition books. So one of those weird things we used to get back then where we'd have like characters that were not alive. And they were like some sort of like historical figures. They don't do that anymore. Take it or leave it how you feel about it. I'm actually for that. Give me historical rule sets like Horus Heresy if you want me to do historical people. Like, give me a Macharian Crusade rule set with like appropriate releases, and that'd be awesome. But like, the dude is dead, so let him stay dead. There's a video. I'm not going to watch it here. You can just go to the Warhammer community website and take a look. They mentioned that this is the last one to be shown off. They said that last week when they showed off the Rogel Dorn. And we've already got Casterkin, and then they've also shown off Sentinels and Shock Troops and Artillery, the Rough Riders. They've also shown the heavy weapon teams have been updated to go with the Shock Troops, as have the command teams. So Imperial Guard right now, if I'm doing my count right, are getting like 8. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sorry, 9 kits. That's pretty good. I don't know what else we really need. I mean, I didn't expect us to get much in the way of new vehicles updates because most of them have been recently updated or are just kind of recently new. When I say recently, anything that's like around 10 years old isn't that old by Games Workshop standards, unless you're like a Marine. And even then, Marine stuff has kicked around for a while, that Firstborn stuff. So even they drag on in lifespan. So carrying on down, here he is. Let's get right into it now. That's enough, talking about who the Lord Solar is and just, nonsense. Let's get right into the model. And this guy here is like Karl Franz in space. If you don't know Karl Franz, he is the emperor of the Empire of Man in Warhammer Fantasy. If we scroll down further, we get a good look at his face. Yeah. If you go by the Re-Guild General on Griffin, that's just the old Empire Griffin kit, which allowed you to make like a general or a wizard or Karl Franz. And this guy here looks like Karl Franz. He's awesome. I know some people are going to continue to be pretty much negative about everything new that Games Workshop does. And that's okay. We all have our preferences in style. I do prefer the old stuff still myself. But I don't know, there's just, this guy's amazing looking. And I think it's just because he's on a horse. I mean, he's got a really cool, like, heroic, I don't know, like Napoleon pose going on. Mixed with, like, Rome and steampunk. I don't know. It's hard to describe. Like, it's sci-fi Napoleon, Julius Caesar, like, melded imagery here. It's pretty neat. He's got a really cool cape that's like flowing. This giant las pistol of his, or whatever it is he's using, I mean, it is so cool, like master crafted, level 2 at least. He's got a cool sword. It's called, go back up to the big picture, it's called Conquest. I do think the gun has a name too. I'll see if I can find it in here as we go through it. Now, his horse is called Constantine, and this is actually a living horse. It's just all cybernetics now because it's like several decades old and, I'm assuming been shot out from under him multiple times. But, I mean, literally the only thing I don't like on this whole thing is whatever this mess that he's standing on is. I assume it's like the remains of like a Chaos Knight. I really wish it had just been another tactical rock. I know people laugh about those. They just go, oh, look, GW puts another rock on the base. But I think if it had been like sort of like an outcrop of rock, kind of following the same shape, coming to a soft point and then coming back in on itself, I think that would have looked pretty cool. It would have had the exact same effect, and it just wouldn't have been this. I don't know. This is kind of messy looking. If I do wind up buying this model, I'm definitely going to replace this with something, again, probably just a standard rock base of some kind. I think it's going to look more heroic. They maybe could have done something here, but, that was more man-made, not natural, and just done something different. I kind of dislike this, but that's just me. Just my personal thought on that. Other people may really like it. But the horse is gorgeous. I mean, that's a beautiful looking horse. Nice pose. Slightly weird leg poses for the horses as usual. I mean, it's one thing GW kind of never gets right in my mind is the posing of horse legs. I'm not really sure. Like, this here looks good. These legs, not as much. And I think that is just because it's on this weird ass pile of rubble. I really think that's the flaw here. If this was on a sloped like rock outcrop with like block over the top to make it look like grass, I think this would look a lot better. But overall, I mean, this horse has a great like kind of like noble pose to it. I mean, this is an awesome looking war horse. It's all made up of panels of adamantium or whatever it's been upgraded with as it's lost its organic parts. Still got a nice long tail, nice and full. I mean, you can tell also how big this horse is just by the size of this dude. We know how big the new humans are from the Kasserkin. So this horse is quite large. This is a great war horse. And I think they did a great job conveying the idea of a cybernetic war horse here. Him himself, again, really nice armor. And the armor, if you want to know what the old Solar Macharius looked like, it's very much like this. Take away this, little weird sunrise squiggle line thing. And this is essentially what you would have seen. I mean, this is what that model would look like on a horse today, reimagined. This is essentially the same equipment. It obviously means that there is some sort of like ceremonial armor that is given to Lord Solar's, because it's a breastplate. It's the shoulder pads, the knee and shin pads, the billowing cape. It all matches sort of what we had before, the helmet. It's actually really nice to see that. Again, another model that's being released that is a very clear nod to a previous kind of beloved model for those of us who were around at the time. Again, not the best model we had, but I don't know many people that have ever talked about the Lord Solar model negatively. And it's just, it was neat at the time. It's neat looking now. The horse is a really cool idea. I like this scabbard too. It's a really like hefty scabbard. It looks like, if he lost that somehow, he will take this and he will beat your ass with this giant scabbard, and it's going to be almost as effective. I really like this guy. I know I've been pretty positive overall about the guard releases. I think the one that's the worst is the Sentinel, but that's only because the Sentinel is probably one of the worst guard models. And I like the Sentinel, but if you look at all the guard models that are out there over the years, the Sentinel has never really found a great look. It's always been off in some way. And even the new one, like they've done a lot to fix it, but it's still kind of like I'll take it or leave it kind of thing. But yeah, I like this guy a lot, and I don't know if I'll buy him. I don't know if I have a need for him, but this is definitely some kind, like the kind of model that the right price, just to paint it up, I think this would be worth having. Yeah, so he's pretty sweet. He's pretty old. He's like 100, or he's over 100. He's been fighting for like 100 years, I believe it said somewhere. So lots of rejuvenant treatments. And yeah, here we go. His pistol is called Saul's Righteous Gaze. Again, that is a really cool pistol. It's got like that classic, like archaic, like 17th, 18th century look that you see in a lot of models in the 40k range when you start getting into like the Inquisitors and stuff. Not quite the Imperial Guard, but like Imperial agent stuff. You see a lot of stuff like this. So that's a nice touch as well. Next picture of him in a battlefield setting. Also, this little wall thing, this barricade, almost perfectly blocks that ugly mess he's standing on, and I think this actually shows how much better he looks by not seeing that. And it just really reinforces to me, you need to get rid of that weird thing on his base and do something else. I don't care what it is. I mean, even like it's like you take like a Chaos Predator turret and like have it like half buried in the dirt at an angle. Like even that would be better than whatever that mess was, because it's too much of a mess. And then we get a rule for him. This is really nice too. This rule is again harkening back to what he used to do. This one here lets you change up your secondary objective, which can give you the ability to basically change up your strategy on the fly during your games. So you're not locked into a strategy that's not going to help you win. Or if you're happy with your strategy or your secondary objective. And this other thing called agendas. I forget what agendas are. I don't play Ninth. I keep saying that. I really don't. I don't know what an agenda is offhand. I have a vague idea, but I don't want to say it because I'm probably super wrong. Anyways, if you like it, you can just keep it, and then you get one free command point. I guess it's a case of like, that's not that great in my mind. Like, it's fine. This is way better, but this is the part you want anyways, the ability to change up your entire army like plan on the fly. That's what makes him good. And the alternative was they could just give you nothing. If you like it, you keep it, and there's no benefit at all. You just keep it what you already started with. It's fine. You're happy. You don't get anything. The fact is you still get that command point. It's nothing to complain about. This is better, but this isn't bad, is what I'm saying. So, I mean, that's pretty much a perfect rule. Back in 3rd edition, what he did was if you took Solar Macharius, you would be allowed to pick if you went first. Back then, there was no way to roll for, what is it called? Seize the initiative. And if you did not get first turn, whether it was because the scenario didn't let you or you lost the roll off to get first turn, that was it. You had to deal with second turn. And you would, you know, hopefully have deployed for second turn. But if you took Solar Macharius, and back then you had to ask permission, you just couldn't take special characters. But if they gave you permission, you know, your opponent knew that essentially they were getting second turn. And you would be able to set up for a first turn. And they had to, you know, deploy in a way that basically allowed them to hopefully react to that. That was his thing. He was the grand strategist. He was able to make the decisions that would see him have victory just by outmaneuvering his opponent. So having first turn was kind of like a very fluffy rule. And I think this is a very good modern interpretation of that. I think this is really nice. He's also the cover for the new army box, like intro starter box, whatever they're calling it, for the Astra Militarum. I don't know. It's a really nice picture. I wish it was something else that was going to be on that, but you know, it is what it is. It's one of those things where this is not bad. It's just not what I was hoping for. I knew this is what it was going to be because we saw the blurred photo. We knew it was a guy on a horse, so I mean that was pretty much guaranteed. But this is my thing. I wish the collector's covers would actually do what the Black Templars did. Give us old art. 40K has like, well, now what was the year? The 35th anniversary. So 35 years of art that they can draw from. These collector edition books, I think, should be classic art. I think the 3rd edition, or maybe even the 5th edition cover, those would have been awesome choices. You know, redraw it, maybe update it a bit, but take those classic covers and recreate them. Or, you know, my favorite cover of all time, City Fight. I mean, I don't give a shit that that's a book for everybody. That was a guard book. It was guard on the cover. That was a guard codex. And I think that would be a wicked collector edition. Like, I would fight tooth and nail to get this box set if it was the City Fight artwork on this cover. I don't even care if I didn't play the book ever. Even if I never opened it, I would keep it on my shelf because it would look awesome. And yeah, that's my thoughts on this. There's no point continuing. The video is way too long as it is, so I'm going to stop there. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you have any thoughts of your own on this update that we got today, let me know down below. I think we're probably going to see the pre-orders for the Guard. Not the coming weekend. We already know what that is, but the weekend after. They do need to get these out. I'm just going to do this part really quick. I know I already said I'm going to end this. They need to get these out, so if it's not coming the pre-order next weekend, it'll be the weekend after. I'm positive they'll want these out into our hands. Probably it'll be a 2-week window. I think a lot of these have been 2 weeks lately, these bigger releases, so this one I could see being 2 weeks. But anyways, they need to get these out so they can get the Christmas battle forces out. I'm still not sold that we won't see the World Eaters before Christmas, their army box, just to get it out there. But who knows? But for sure, next 2 weeks, this will go up for pre-order. I'm pretty sure. And I can't wait to get a chance to grab it. I don't know if I care too much in the end. I'm not going to fight too hard to get it. But if I can get one, I probably will. Just to, you know, take a look at it. And take a look at those models. So yeah, for real, that's where I'm going to end the video. Thanks so much for watching. Have yourselves a great day. And if you're interested, I will leave the link to the Discord in the description as usual. So thanks very much. Have a great day.